Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dream Oracle for You. I am your host, Sarah. And as always, I have my refreshed and lovely co host, Billiana, on the show tonight. Tonight, we are spanning, or this morning, today, wherever you are, we are spanning actually 3 time zones: Australia, the UK, and Canada. So it's kind of early or it's kind of late for some of us. Holly, our guest, is lucky with being right in the middle of the day. So nice and refreshed for today's episode. For today's episode, it's my honor to welcome Holly Milner to our show. And we are going to have a discussion around using art therapy to help interpret your dreams. And of course, we're just going to let the conversation flow as we get to know Holly and what her experiences are with dreams. As always, I'm just going to pass the torch to Billiana to welcome us to the show. And if she has anything else she'd like to share before we have Holly introduce herself.
Yeah, welcome, Holly. I say this every episode. I'm excited. It's because we have someone always different and someone that will spark a lot of conversation and interest for people. Hopefully, for those are beginning with dreams and learning about themselves. So, welcome to the show, and yeah, please share about yourselves and then about yourself, and we'll just go from there.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. What's really interesting, the links that I have to you guys, which is Lay Love Down. And I'm actually this week, I just stepped out for a little bit from the Illuminate and Elevate conference in the UK, East Grinstead, and Dawn Lester. She's amazing, and she just spoke, and I'm feeling really lifted because of what she spoke about. But also, Lay Love Down, the first speaker was Ben Hawkes. So,
Oh,
like,
nice.
Awesome.
so when I saw the lineup, I was like, this is going to be good. So
Yeah.
it's an amazing weekend. Anyway, so I've had the honor of getting to know you guys through your Lay Love Down work. And my universal pivot back to the UK. I feel like I was really lost, but then I found myself in the woods and lay lines and all the things I find. So yeah, and I hope I can bring some interesting conversation to today.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to have you here. And yeah, we definitely have had a few Lay Love Down people on the on this podcast. Actually, you most likely know Sarah Seeger. She's one of our group meditation facilitators, and she was actually our very first guest on the
Yeah.
show. And I remember when I introduced that episode, I was like, there was like a long pause when I introduced the episode because I almost said, "Welcome to another episode of Lay Love Down," which is really funny. Anyway, so we have an entry level question for dreams just to get us warmed up and talking, and that is simply, "What are dreams to you?" And just let it go from there.
Well, dreams to me are something that since meeting you and listening to your podcast, I thought they were quite out of my realm. I thought they were what other people did a lot, and I don't dream much. The one thing I would say is there's been several periods of my life where I've remembered a dream, and it's been like one that I really remember, like wake up feeling like there's always water involved, not with every single dream, but in the big ones. And so I'm assuming that's, well, in my belief, it's a big emotion that's needing to be seen, and wants to come up from the unconscious mind. And I felt very detached from dreaming, like it was something out of my reach. But since listening to you, I've had my notebook by the bed, and I wake up and I look, and I might sort of come to, shall we say, and I'm like, oh, got to dream, or I didn't. And then I'll think, hang on a minute, I'm in bed with my ex. No, 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 you're still here. And I sort of come to, in a sense, and then write down, and I'll remember it. And it's when you're in that in between state. Is that the lucid phase?
It sounds like what you're describing is being lucid because it sounded like you were waking up in your dream at that point. So you knew that
Yeah.
you were and then you realize, oh, I'm still dreaming or I'm still here in the dream space. So that's pretty cool. So you were like waking up like, oh, did I dream? I need to write it down. And then in that process, you actually realized you were still in the dream space.
And then of course you can sort of step out consciously because I didn't necessarily want to be there, if you know what I mean. And then started to write it down, and that was the start of being more conscious of my dreaming. So yeah, I think it's a state where I realize now it's things that I picked up from the day before or past experiences that I find in that lucid state when oh yeah, I'm not quite out and I'm not quite back. The messages come in and I can sort of contemplate what just happened and that's what I'm being shown. That's what I'm getting anyway, because I'm quite new to this.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah,
sounds like
that's cool.
you go, Billiana.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, if you're anyone that doesn't really dream at nighttime, and even Sean mentioned this the other day, is like having a nap during the day.
Mm.
And that's when I found that that's most vivid. Like just having a nap before, and I can like really remember I dreamt about someone, and like I'd been dreaming about frequently in the like last 6 months. So it's like that's when I have really vivid dreams is when I have like a nap during the day. So if anyone that wants to dream, maybe that's a better time to do it because you tend to have less. And he even mentioned it's more of the REM sleep that you have when like during the day. So
Mm.
it's you pretty much dive straight into your REM sleep when you have a nap during the day. And yeah, that's it's quite interesting.
I think that that's true, but I also want to add to another layer of that because something that you were saying, Holly, was kind of like being more consciously aware that you're sleeping. And so I feel that when you're taking a nap in the day, you've been busying around, you're very consciously alert during the day. And so then when you take a nap, you're already in that heightened conscious awareness, I guess. And so then taking a nap then means that you're going to sleep with that elevated awareness. And it definitely for me on my journey of dreaming and dreaming more and recognizing and analyzing and all of those things, it's I personally believe that dreaming is no different than our waking life. It's just your level of awareness to that. And so it's your conscious awareness. And the more conscious you become just of your being in general, the more you're going to dream and be able to remember them and recognize when you're dreaming and be able to analyze and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
There's a
like
lot.
yeah, there's a lot. It's a lot. Well, it's remembering who you are and it's just becoming more, like I said, more in tune with who you are as well. And I think that's dreams are so powerful in that because something we've said on this podcast, I probably say it in every episode, honestly. It's like dreams are an opportunity to have an 8-hour therapy session every night
Yeah.
because it's an intimate communication between you and yourself, your
Yeah.
heart, your I don't want to say your subconscious because I don't think it's really that. It's just because again, it's your level of awareness on a conscious level of where you are. But it's just a way that your your conscious self that is normally clouded by all the busyness of everyday life has a chance to actually speak to you when you go to sleep and then that's where you get things come through.
Yeah, yeah. I had a really cool dream the other day. Is I set the intention before I went to bed that I wanted to release um judgment and like it's not negative. I'm trying to use a different word than negative because negative and positive just been used wrong. Past experiences are like holding judgment on, and then my subconscious just replayed all the situations and things maybe people I've hurt in the past through, and I was like, oh, not again. And I woke up, but something shifted. So it was like the going through that process of letting it go. And that was quite interesting. I'd never had that before. Like you have dreams where something's happened in the past or you're stressing about things, but to actually it replay, it was kind of like it was like just fast or straight through and then release, done. And then I woke up and I felt a lot better. So, you can use your dreams in that sense, like you say, Sarah, is a therapy session. You don't have to necessarily remember everything, but a lot of times, like you can wake up feeling different. A lot of the times I feel different, even if I haven't remembered everything. Do you have that experience ever, Holly?
Yeah, well, it's really interesting you say that because last night, I'm so grateful. So where the conference is about an hour away from home, and halfway between is a beautiful friend of my mum's, but also mine. And she said that I could stay in their garden. They've got this lovely shepherd's hut, and so I went back there to sleep. And so at the moment we're in the eclipse season. So on the new moon, I set my intention. Although there's, I've heard that you shouldn't set intentions on an eclipse, but I never know what to believe anymore, right? So I set my intention, and I'm like, if it's like a wish, am I going to ruin it if I tell everyone what my intention is? But it just kind of naturally came out to be seen and heard. And I think it was on the same day that Sarah reached out and said, would you like to the podcast? And I was like, wow, that was quick, which is really interesting. But also, so being in this mind frame of not being seen, I have been really feeling that energy of I feel invisible. So that must be an old belief system. And in my dream, so I went to bed with the intention. I was like, I would love to have a dream tonight for tomorrow. And because I haven't been dreaming recently, which was a bit frustrating, but what can you do? Anyway, I had the dream, but it was in between, I think it was between the alarm and the next alarm, because I just didn't want to miss anything today. And I woke up and I think again, feeling like, oh, did I? Oh no, Bailey and Nick just walked past. So they're people, very special people to me in Australia. And so therefore I was like, no, I'm still here. And so I was able to start writing what had happened. Now, I don't think the dream was very long, and I don't remember much of the beginning, but it kind of overlapped the conference layout of the room. And then I just remember being like, not an observer, I was in it, but I wasn't very important in the dream. And at one point, I just remember Nick and Bailey walking past, and they were wearing a light pink and blue, which is really interesting because it's a lot like your background. Well, the pink and the blue. I also had already planned that I was wearing pink today and blue, and those colors were in the dream. And then I woke up, and in the shepherd's hut, the sky was that perfect sunrise, pink and blue. And I was like, this is so weird. But also, they were wearing these like ponchos. You know, at theme parks, you get those see-through plastic ponchos. And I was like, there's the water reference again, like protection from. So I was psychoanalyzing the protection from the water, but also they walked past, and not in a nasty way, but they just didn't see me. And I was like, see, I'm unseen. And I can't really remember what else happened, but it was so the pink and the blue, the unseen, the seeing friends that didn't really see me, which is not their normal state, right? They're just so inclusive and involving and amazing. So I just woke up feeling like that's really interesting. Now, the energy at the conference yesterday, you know, when you're new to something, and I was like, I don't really know anyone. I had a few people come and talk to me, which is lovely, but maybe the energy for myself, I felt a bit invisible. Whereas this morning, I walk in, the same faces, we'd been out for dinner the night before, and they recognized me. People were saying hi and hugs and all the stuff. And it was a very different energy, which to me seems to be in that dream. Don't know. My interpretation. I was gonna say.
That's so cool.
And your
That's cool.
interpretation is the most important one because dreams are, like I said, it's you talking to yourself essentially. And if you interpret it a certain way and it really resonates with you and you feel that what it is, you are correct because no one knows you better than you. And dreams, you know, what one symbol in one dream means for somebody can mean something different to somebody else because though the language, the symbols, the feeling, because Biliana focuses more on feelings with her dreams. I'm more about the symbols. And sometimes my symbols, like if somebody saw my symbol or like saw my interpretation of what I took to be a symbol, they would like totally they probably wouldn't even connect the dots because they're not always literal. They're very much they can be metaphorical or just completely, you know,
Yeah.
something different. But yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm glad you had a dream. Glad that it's all like on theme. I'm even wearing kind of a bluey purple shirt today, so that's quite interesting.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
what you said, I will just have to add that's art therapy. So I will my little disclaimer is when I was in Australia, my training meant that I could say art therapy. I've moved to the UK, and because I haven't studied psychology, I'm not an art therapist. But I can't unlearn what I learned. And what the practices that I used in art therapy is exactly that. I don't have the deep understanding of Freud, and well, I do learn it personally about that, um, but I don't sit and hang what they say on other people's artwork in the consultation. Would be I get them to draw a picture, whether it's guided or just say you do you, and just ask question and draw out what they see in the picture. Because the key to art therapy is what's in the picture is relevant to you. Your unconscious mind is literally saying, I can have a voice. You're letting me speak. And then, sorry, there's a big motorbike going past. um, uh,
you're
like,
you're you're talking your art through art therapy. Your subconscious is like having a voice.
yeah, the subconscious is excited to be able to speak for once, and it puts it in the image. Now, when someone's answering my questions and they go off in story, you've moved from the heart, unconscious, to the head, and you've got to guide them back and say, yes, that's very relevant, but we're just going to come back to tell me what's in the picture. And so dreams would be the same then. And that's the I guess the heart saying, I want to speak, not the head, me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you
Oh,
can overanalyze your dreams.
Mm, yeah.
Put
yeah.
too much emphasis on everything when really it's I think for me like it's the things that really stand out in at the time is what you need to know at that moment, and then later on like if you've been journaling and things like you never forget anything, like it's not even stored in your brain, it's stored in your
Mm-hmm.
being, in your soul, like it's part of you. So those things will just drop in, like as people have downloads, like you call them. I think that's just it's reactivating you at the time that you need it. So that's the same with dreams. That's just what I feel.
Yeah. Downloading is just remembering, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just
yeah.
yeah.
We never forget. We never forget. Like it's never leaves us. It's just all the layers that are in front that we need to kind of peel away and unpack.
Mhm. Uh, I want to say that in terms of you saying that you're not a therapist or you're not a, I guess what you're really saying is you're not like certified to work in kind of like a private or well, no, I guess a public
Yeah.
institution or whatever as a art therapist.
Yeah.
But privately, you're an art therapist. Maybe there's a different word that you could describe that makes that more comfortable, but you
Yeah.
know, it's no different than anyone who does healing work, quantum healing, you know, soul coaching, any of these other terms that people use. We're all teaching from experience, so we're all guiding from experience. We don't have degrees in it because honestly the degrees don't exist because what we're teaching or what we're the knowledge we're passing on, the guidance that we're giving to people, it's coming from the heart, it's coming from experience, and that can't be learnt in a book. You know, and you know, we know that some things are indoctrinated, and you know, when it comes to having um you know, some degree that you've studied all of the famous psychoanalysts of the time, Freud and Jung and whoever else are out there. I don't even, I can't even remember them all because there's too many of them.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be throwing shade on any of them either, but some of them, their ideas are not even their own and they've taken from other people that, you know, and now the big names get the credit. Why did the big names get credit? Likely because there's some sort of control mechanism that's there that they want there to be limiting beliefs on people and certain things because they don't want people to fully connect with their heart.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
kind of my vibe on that. So what I'm saying is you do you. I have done a session with you and your sessions are just awesome because you very much are, you're more like the guide. You are not really full on therapist. You're not saying, oh, this is what's wrong, or you know, you
Yeah.
need to, you know, you're not like spitting out everything. You're just giving a like a guidance, a perspective, like you say, you're pulling them back to
Mm.
where they need to go. And it was also quite amazing because the one that I did with you, like I've never really painted in my life before, but I had these watercolor paints that I had bought. They were still new in the box when I had the session with you. And it's
Mm.
just like just through your guidance, stuff was able to come through. So it was quite great.
Yeah, that's
That's
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, highly
Yeah.
recommend. Check out Holly.
Yeah.
and and especially like if it's a way to I'm very much interested in how you can apply this to interpreting dreams, which is no different than just having that communication with, I guess, the subconscious or allowing that part of you to have a voice. But
Mm.
it's like, I guess with the dreams, the voice is already trying to come through the dream. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong because you know more about this than I am. That this is just where my mind's playing. So
Yeah.
you just allow them to kind of use the art therapy to analyze the dream in a sense to kind of pull out the key points that have come through in the dream. Or I really want to hear what you're full on. You've had time to think about this. So how do you envision art therapy to be used to analyze dreams?
Yeah, well, so if you were to, there's two different ways of painting, really. You could do the figurative and try and illustrate it to look in the way that you saw it. Or there's that more abstract colors, shapes, patterns. Those shapes and patterns to me are going to, you know, I always use this analogy. If someone painted um, lots of little dots, shall we say, and there's a big red dot, like a huge red dot right in the middle, and um, and then there's a little one next to it, and they might mention, oh, that little dot there is me. Like the burning question is like, well, who's the big red dot? You know, but if they don't mention the big red dot, it is not for me to point out and say, oh no, you got to tell me about the big red dot. Who is that big red dot? And why? Who is it? Is it your mother? Is it your father? Is it this, that, the other? So I reckon in dreams, if someone could wake up, remember their dream, and then create an image of it, in whichever way you choose, figurative or abstract, the subconscious would be keen as to say, I know exactly what that means. So it's, again, not me. I'm the facilitator, the guide to draw out what your unconscious wants to say. I'm kicking myself now that I haven't done this myself. I'm like, that's really obvious. And I'm absolutely going to do it. But I can see how it works, because it's the same as a conscious thought process that you've experienced. But whenever you, oh my gosh, seeing kids draw, they it just flows out. They create a picture. I did it with a kid that I was working with at the school. Um, and he could tell me so much about this image he did in 5 minutes. And he was literally not wasting, or using up the paint that was left. So not to waste the paint in a small picture. And I asked him a few things about the picture. Now, I wasn't psychoanalyzing him. It wasn't the time and space, but he could tell me so much about that image. And I was like, wow, something wants to speak in this child, you know? So yeah, there's just latent potential in art, dreams, and all the things. So
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, I mean, it's that classic saying, right? A picture's worth 1,000 words.
mm-hmm. We all stand in front of major artworks, and it evokes something in us that is an experience to ourselves in our lifetime, or others, or other, like, past lives maybe. But some people stand in front of the picture and cry. Some might like be sickened by it. Whatever the image is, it means something to you personally, and it's that's the magic of, I say, good art. You know.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, you're like reminding me of the cool little episode that Billiana and I did recently where we kind of analyzed song references that had dream mentions in it. I'm not sure if you checked out
Yeah.
that episode. And one of the things that I was talking in that episode about was just how, you know, what the original meaning behind the song lyrics that an artist has put out there could mean something totally different than somebody listening to it. But the sign of a good artist or good musician is if you can evoke an emotional response in the listener, then you have been successful, even if, like, you know, the experiences are going to be different because you're individuals and you're different. So it really ties into what you're saying with art, and music is art. So it's kind of, it's awesome.
And where does the art come from? Like, sometimes when I'm painting, I didn't start with an intention, and then it just happens. And you're like, where is this coming from? And of course, there's that magic of, cool, where is this coming from?
Yeah, you're in the flow in your creative and meditative state, right?
Yeah, that's it.
And when you, if you think too much about this, I actually listen. We had a guest a while ago, Biba Logan, just amazing, the Biba Frequency podcast. And the most recent episode, I haven't quite finished it yet, but really, really great episode. She's sitting down with a friend of hers because she does photography and she's somewhat of an artist as well. And she got talking about, I don't remember the specifics of it, so I recommend you check out the episode. It's a good episode. But she was in general talking about how when you're in the flow in a creative state, you know, it just all happens kind of naturally. It's beautiful, it's great. But if you overthink it, it actually doesn't flow out. It doesn't, you actually, it almost like stops you from being able to be creative when you allow your thinking mind to get too much involved. Anyway, you check out the episode, it's good.
Yeah, no, I love that, and what I've noticed with myself, and even like my niece and nephew, because they're so like they're not in their ego, they're not in their logic mind when they're drawing and that sort of thing, and for myself when I've, done a bit of coloring and stuff, is like you know exactly what colors that you want to use. You don't have to think about it. You just go, you just grab, and it's just you're so more focused. And it's that flow state. And kids are so much like that. They just like you'll be playing around, you grab a color, nah, don't want that one. They just know exactly what they want.
Yeah.
And that's why I've found art therapies like I've seen firsthand and I've experienced it myself. How it can help,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily with dreams, but just in general. So yeah, I might even start doing that for myself. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
I've been drawing like symbols and that sort of thing just in my book, but I can still picture. As you were talking, I was picturing one of my dreams, like a green, like grassy hills, open space with some big trees, and then there's a bus just kind of randomly. So it's like the grass, and then it flows into a massive, like old school kind of bus. And I'm like, I wonder what that would mean if I actually drew it.
Yeah.
I bet
It's
the subconscious would speak more than your conscious memory of the dream.
Yeah.
I did. So,
love the excitement. It's
We
it's
should
funny.
get you like on our course and you can be a component of it. Like that'd be awesome. Just do some art therapy.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my goodness, Billiana, that's a
I'm just letting you know now, Sarah.
great idea. Well, the thing is, you did let me know. I had a little like wisp of a wave of that earlier. I didn't mention it, but I was like, Holly should be like part of our course. Like not in the course, but part of the course.
Yeah.
Game
So
on.
we're
But
having our first we have a student signed up. We're open. The registration's open till basically the night before the launch of the course, which Billiana, what's our date again? October 3rd or something.
For you it's the 3rd, for me it's the 4th of October.
Okay, so it's October 3rd in the evening in North America.
Yeah.
Um, and then it'll be so unfortunately, Holly, for this round, it's not UK friendly unless you want to be up really late at night. Um,
oh, I'm seeing like this stuff happening in Australia, and what time is it? Like Dale Holmes is STE, and
Yep.
sorry, and I literally was like 1 o'clock in the morning. Oh no, I can't do it. I can't do it.
yeah, it's a little too early. But yeah, anyway, I think yeah, at some point we'll maybe our next iteration or so of the course, we'll definitely if you're
Yeah,
willing, of course,
I'm in.
because because the course part of the course is to interpret dreams. So to add that aspect of you know
Mm.
art therapy to it, I think would be kind of fun. I don't know. We could, I mean, maybe we'll talk offline. We won't have to use the episode
Yeah.
to like brainstorm how we're going
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
incorporate art therapy into our course. But please, listeners, check out our website and our social media pages because all the information about the course, upcoming courses, is there. It's a 4-week course where we basically introduce you to dreams and how to interpret them and dream journaling and all that good stuff. So, and Holly, I I don't know if I've misheard you or misinterpreted what you had said, but the couple times you talked about your dreams, it sounds like you're dream journaling in your dream. Am I hearing that correctly, or if I've misinterpreted?
Well, no, it's like I often wake up with the feeling of like I didn't remember my dream. And then I realize, no, I'm still in the dream. So
Hmm.
you haven't forgotten it. It's still happening. And that's when I realized I could wake up and journal it out. But often I've even written a dream on top of a dream, so I can't even read the original dream because you're looking for the notepad and it's
Oh, so you like writing in the dark?
yeah, sometimes.
I started that. So my thing for that is you open up to a blank page the night before, like before you go to bed, pen on top of it, and then in the dark you can feel around for the top of the page, and then than right. It is kind of funny though, because I've gone back and looked and I'm like, I can't read these chicken scratches. What did I write down?
Yeah.
But something I started to do is like, if I wake up and I really have to like go to the bathroom or something, then I'll just grab my notebook and then I'm like standing in the bathroom writing down everything I can remember. And I
Yeah.
find that as you're like, write down everything that comes to your mind first, and then as you go back and you read it, you're like, oh wait, there was this more other detail. So it's like a little detail that you write down can help you remember what other details
Is
are.
it one or two that you say, um, I can't remember exactly, but it was in your early episodes. You talk about the process of remembering them, and you said write bullet points, and
Yeah.
so that like scatter, like, oh yeah, remember that, that, and that, and it kind of flows into the other bits you remember.
Cool. Like you're talking about
Yeah.
like literally my introductory level
Yeah,
episodes.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. You've gone back and listened to those. Those are like those were the very beginning stages when I would like be going on a walk with my phone, and just like what have I got to say today?
Oh, they were very valid because it opened up
Yeah.
a dream. So thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'm that's very very comforting to hear that they're working and that they were valid
Yes.
episodes. And it was interesting because those first few episodes I felt like almost every day or at least once a week I was like I was inspired. I was like, okay, I have all this to tell people and to put out there. And then for about 3 months there was like it all stopped. There was like no inspiration. And then I found Billiana, and it has been just like this amazing journey ever since then. It's like my problem was I needed a co-host and then guest.
Yeah.
That was the other part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a question for both of you.
Mm.
There's been like in the last probably month, I haven't been dreaming a lot, but my dreams have been like vivid, and I haven't been writing them down because I suppose as you get better at recalling, like I said before, you don't ever forget. Then you can learn to recall when you need to. Do you get to a point where like you might not remember your dream straight after, but like it starts to weave itself into your daily life memories? I feel like I can't distinguish between what was a dream and what has happened when I was awake.
Yeah. Wow. Well, apart from really what I talked about, the pink and the blue and the feeling unseen, and then my day started that I felt more seen. That's the only thing that I can really imagine. That's the one I can most recently remember.
Yeah, yeah,
I, now I can see exactly what you mean because that did happen. Like there's just threads, little weaves, and so yes, but only on a small scale do I have evidence for it.
yeah. And I used to think it was like deja vu, like I'd maybe dreamt it and then I was experiencing it, but maybe it's like just my waking in my daily life is becoming more connected because you're just becoming more aware of yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think about that, Sarah.
Yeah, oh, so many things, of course. um Definitely I don't know how many times I've started a conversation with somebody and I'm like I'll be like starting to tell a story. I was like, wait, it's like, did I dream this or did this actually happen? Because there's that, you know, not having the full separation because dreams, as we heard from Sean this week, he put really nicely, is that dreams are just experiences that you're having, right? And so it's all part of us. It's all of our every whatever you experience during the day and whatever you experience at night, it's all a conscious experience.
Mm.
Um, so having this blend of your waking life and your sleep life and not knowing what's a dream and what's quote unquote reality, but the reality is there's multiple realities laid on top of each other in different timelines and um like I had this thing happen yesterday. It's not exactly related to dreams, but it's related to this like not fully separating, one experience to another. Was I started to tell Tim about this this Instagram post or something that I had seen, and it was just like this cute little meme or something. And he like finished what I was going to say. And he's like, "Yeah, you told me that yesterday." And I was like, "No, I didn't tell you that yesterday. Like I just had that experience today." And I for like the next few minutes I was like debating with myself. I'm like, did I actually tell him yesterday? Was it like a separate timeline that I told him and I don't remember? Like my brain just couldn't really figure out what had
Well,
happened. And but then I'm like pregnant and I'm a little more tired. So I'm like, oh, maybe I did tell him and I just forgot or something. But yeah, it's an interesting
uh,
yeah, experience. Oh, I feel like I have more to say. I want to bring back Biljana with you talking about, and this relates to kind of the art therapy thing, like drawing symbols and stuff like that. And I know my experience with you, Holly, with the session I did with you, we had focused on painting. But for art therapy in general, um, is it whatever modality or mode, like form that the art wants to come forward for that individual person is what happens, or is it usually painting?
oh, in an art therapy session, ideally, you've got different art mediums. So you've got paint. Uh, you can do clay. Clay is kind of a different angle, but you've got pencils, whatever. However you want to express yourself. Um, the more information in the artwork, the more there is to say, shall we say? So
Mm-hmm.
I've had people say, um, just drawn a little stick man and a little something. It's really like not much, and it's hard to draw much out from that, because I'm not meant to say, now tell me about that, or can you tell me about that? I've got to just ask the right questions that they choose to speak about certain things in the image. Obviously, I guide um, as much as I can, but yeah, it can be in all different ways, shapes, and forms, and things can be. Yeah, clay is an amazing, and sand play as well. This was I had a really amazing experience with a really good friend was going through something hard. We went down to the beach, and I just said, right, go out and collect some things that represent what you're going through right now. And in the sand, he put them in, and like certain things were representative of people and how he felt and what have you. And I won't go into it because, like with any art therapy, you're not meant to um, talk about someone else's experience. It's confidential. But I remember we both sat down afterwards, and it was this like, wow, that was so profound. Like we both sat there, literally like that got to such a core thing, and that was literally like picking up shells, stones, bits of rubbish on the beach. So it can be any way, shape, or form. Your subconscious wants to speak, and it will speak if you allow it. So,
Oh,
uh,
it's so beautiful. It's really cool actually. And to, you know, art, have you ever seen those things where people will take a bunch of trash and then orient it in a certain way, and then when you like zoom out, it's like this amazing sculpture or this amazing, statue or whatever kind of thing that they're representing. And so that's kind of when you were describing about the beach stuff, that's kind of what was kind of coming to mind. But it's like you said, it's giving a voice to the part of your consciousness that needs to speak. And it's like, hey, this is something that's, it's not serving us anymore. We need to work through this, and here's a way to allow that information to come through. So that's really cool.
well, there's two modes of art therapy. Well, two main art as therapy. So, practicing painting, drawing, what have you, coloring,
It's like
puts
a
you in,
kind of a calming sort of thing.
yeah, you're just using it as your own little therapy. And boy, has my art been my blankie for years. I have some paintings I've done. People are just like, wow, I love that so much. And all I see is the like reminiscence of like a relationship breaking down. And each piece, I was like, yeah, well, that I did that bit on that day and I was really experiencing that. But I just got it out on the page. And but there's also, so they call it art in therapy, which is when you can dig deeper. So not every artwork is going to be a therapy session of let's climb into the subconscious. It's could just be releasing the experience of the day, or something that you want to just get out on a piece of paper, and it means nothing. It can literally be thrown away in the bin and you're good. But sometimes,
Yeah.
like I said about the big leaf mandala type things I did, some people love them, and I only see the pain or the suffering that I was going through at the time. So it's transmuted energy, right? Like I'm feeling ugh, and I just start painting, and it then becomes something beautiful. Which this is what I love about art. It has magical
Yeah.
powers.
It's really cool. I like that you use the term transmuted energy. And so it's really cool because you took like that pain or however you were feeling and you basically turned it into something beautiful, at least to somebody looking at, they thought thought it was beautiful.
Yeah.
When you're looking at it and and you said all you see is pain, is that does that mean that you like I don't even know how to put words to this. Does that mean that you still have some healing to do with that? Like, do you think that there will be a point when you will look at the painting and you will, because every experience that we go through is really a lesson that we're learning to grow. It's every experience that we have becomes who we are. It shapes who we are. And that's pain, that's joy, that's, whatever it may be. So do you think that there's a point or a goal or like a process that every and I know Billiana doesn't like, or I think it was Billiana who mentioned about negative emotion, trying to use a different term, but
Yeah.
those experiences that might not be as pleasant, that they will be fully transmuted into something more positive, for lack of better terminology. I don't know if I've really explained what I'm trying to say there.
Right. Well, from what I get from what you've said, what came up for me is those paintings. I had an intention to paint gum leaves. They were gum leaves. Now, when I'm in the UK, there's so many other beautiful leaves that I've been painting, but the gum leaves especially. Like I would find leaves, take them home. I'm such a collector of
Nature.
nature. And I've got to really curb it now. Well, do I? And others too. But I would see them, collect them with the intention of painting them. And sometimes it takes a hard thing to actually get me to sit down and paint, because I know I need a little therapy session. And I will just say my past, my history has been awkward about selling my artwork. Um, I'm still trying to work my way around that. Like I've always loved commissions because someone tells me what to do, I do it, and it's done. There's a hard process in there because there's is this what they want? Is it right? Like, am I sure I'm getting what they want on the page? What I love is a commission that says, these are the guidelines, but I'm just going to trust you, and that they do. When they say, that wasn't what I expected, but I absolutely love it, is such a lovely feeling. Then when someone says, I don't really know, you tell me what you show me, you're the artist, right? And then you've got like infinite potential, infinite outcomes. you do one, and then they say, "Oh, that's not really what I was thinking." Like, like I need boundaries. I need the little guides when it comes to a commission. But on my own personal stuff, I'll just paint it, and it often takes that like emotional thing that wants to come out through the artwork, or something's running through my head at the time of painting it. And yeah, and then of course it's just like therapy notes to me. I'm looking at it like, oh, I worked through that issue, that painting, and I don't then see it as, it's funny, saleable art, which is really interesting. And that's when people might say, I love that thing you just posted. Can I buy it? And this is where my, I don't know, conditioning, my beliefs in the past, I'm trying to change this, obviously. But yeah, when it comes to being an actual artist, a professional artist, that is extremely vulnerable, extremely brave to do a gallery and have people come and look at your work and tell you, I don't like it, I like it. This brings up this to me, what have you. So I haven't done that enough in this lifetime, but open to everything.
Yeah. Really like that. I wonder if I was just thinking if the person said that they liked your painting, maybe that's a way, like you're saying, transmuted it, like what you painted on into like something that someone else is going to love. Maybe that's your way of like shifting the energy into like letting it go.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, who knows?
Well, it's funny that one of the big leaf mandala paintings that I've done, it 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 I had a conversation. I had a conversation with someone about it, and she was just like, "I absolutely adore it. I love it. Um, it's a bit big for my house, but could I have a print?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." It's still really awkward to say, "Absolutely, I'll make money from that." Um, something I'm working on, but
Yeah.
yeah, she absolutely loved it. And then she said, it's just, I know," and she was trying not to offend me by saying, "I think I could do that, but I won't do that. I can't do that." And I said, "Yes, you can." And we actually did an art therapy session, partly teaching techniques, but then I just said, just try, because I could hear in the words that she didn't believe she could. And a lot of my art is there is stuff that I've done so often that I feel well versed in it, that it's technically correct or technically good, but some of it is actually really simple. And when I used to teach watercolor workshops, I have no formal training in teaching, but the information comes through in how to make someone believe they can do it and undo the beliefs that they learnt that they can't. So yeah, sorry, I went off on a bit of a tangent there.
No, no, no. Needed to be said. You needed to be seen and heard, remember?
True.
Oh,
Download.
um,
Yeah.
did you have anything else that you wanted to share or talk about artwork wise, dream related?
Well, yes, a lovely segue. We had previously talked about it, and I sat there and I thought, no, I should have, would have, could have done more art related work or do research on other people's beliefs on art and dreams, because there's Dali and what have you. But it took me right back to the illustrations of a book I've done. Name drop. I've done 3 illustration books that they're featured on my Instagram. But one of them was the first one I ever did, which was called "We Live in a Caravan" by Jess Seagross. And the original book is here. I've got to be careful with this one. I disappear.
Yeah.
So this that was self-published by Jess, which is amazing. And we got our dream, which was to have it published. But what was really interesting is the publishing company asked us to cut a couple of pages. And one of them in particular was this one. I don't know if I can hold it up right. Oh, no, I
we'll like I said, we'll put a picture up in the video when we upload it.
It's actually of people around a campfire, and the page was all about one of their favorite points of the trip around Australia in a caravan as a family, and they went out with an Indigenous guide who sat them down, had a campfire, and told them about Dreamtime stories. Now, I remember with the publishing company saying, because the reason they said we needed to cut it out was that I'm native to the UK, and that from their cultural perspective, I shouldn't be doing dot paintings and recreating Indigenous artwork. But in my image I didn't even necessarily mean it to be that. It was interpreting the rainbow serpent just coming up from the ashes and the flames of the fire, and just trying to encourage that. And the stars were in the background of the image, and the moon and what have you. And I think it's really important that that story's told. And so I even suggested to them and their cultural expert, and I said, could we get an Indigenous artist to co-create with me or do the page for me and add them to the title, two illustrators, to get around that aspect? And they just said, no, we'll just cut it. And I knew deep down in my gut, I was like, this is really important to share about Dreamtime stories. And over time, so this was in 2000 I'd have to look up when it was, but I remember we were talking in the COVID time, because their routes had to change due to states being closed and opened and what have you. So yeah, it was just fascinating how that got cut, and I really wanted to keep it in. But now, the more I hear about Dreamtime stories, we all need to know more about how the Indigenous use that as a really important potential for our future as well. So
For our listeners, could you talk a little bit more about, I know you're not an Indigenous person per se, but what you've learned about Dreamtime and why you felt so inspired that it should be part of this illustration that you did. And this illustration book that you did, was this for kids, directed to kids, or just, yeah. Okay.
3 children's books. But it was, at the time, I was just trying to get over my self-belief that I couldn't actually draw and paint. And this one flowed really easily, which was interesting. But I just wanted to capture the moment where they're all around the fire talking about this time in their trip. That was the intention in the beginning. When we were told to cut it out of the book, the importance of Dreamtime was starting to be a bit clearer. But now I realize that sorry, there's someone outside who's really noisy.
That's all right.
Having his own little thing. The Dreamtime stories is like an integral part where we're like this realm. We think we're having a real experience, but are we actually in Dreamtime? And I need to know more about it. I want to know so much more. So I'm delving into it. But again, I feel like this needs to be said by someone who is Indigenous, because I don't want to butcher it. It's a very important message about each individual story. So I may welcome that into your podcast, to have someone who knows and come in and talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be good, just different perspectives on on how, like, especially like the Indigenous, because they've passed it down. Whereas a lot of, like I never had anything passed down to me from my family. So it's good. Like then when you know it's passed down generations, that
Yeah.
it's really, really important for their culture.
Mm.
And it should be important for everyone so we can learn a thing or two.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm.
Yeah. And even like with Sean from our previous podcast, he's talking about all the animals as well as spirits coming into your dream as well. Like, we don't talk about that for our dreams, and even just in when we're awake, like talking about how important animals are to us, when they show up, like what could that mean, So we don't have any of that knowledge passed down. So let's listen to the people that, have been using
Yeah.
their dreams and passing down information and knowledge
Mm.
rather than just reading books and listening to podcasts. Like it's good hearing firsthand accounts.
Yeah. I mean, it was a real, I felt that sort of righteous anger has come up, but then also it's a case of, well, it's not my place actually, but maybe the book is to encourage questioning around it.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll put that out into the universe to a future episode. We will ask for a guest who is well versed and experienced in what dream time stories are, and bring it to our audience as requested by guest Holly. um, I think we're coming to the end of our episode here, and I think we might have touched on a couple of these, but we have some like kind of wind down questions that we like to just ask our guests, just to, there's dreaming, there's your actual, like, the types of dreams that you have, and what dreams are to you. But then we have some like kind of more, I don't know how you describe them, but they're questions that are just like literally like the dynamics of your dream, and that what perspective are most of your dreams are. Like, is it a first perspective, third person, bird's eye view? And then also another question is, do you dream in color? Is it grayscale? Have you ever dreamt in cartoon? So we like to ask these kind of questions just to, because everybody dreams different and has a different experience. So we like to see what the experience is across the board.
Yeah. So this is a really good question. I seem to be the character within. Like a major one that I remember was just before a relationship breakdown. I was in this big canyon and I was bobbing along. Well, bobbing along. It was deep, swirling water. And like, I just remember this, not drowning or anything, but it was big, serious, deep water. And then I noticed things floating past me, and it was my possessions. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is my stuff. And of course, there was the water aspect. Another one, when I was a teenager, I actually woke up like this because I was underwater in a tunnel and moving through the water. So I'm often the action figure, like within the dream.
From like how you view everyday life, or are you like just kind of observing more from a third person aspect?
Oh no, I think I was like in it. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah. I was experiencing it within the dream rather than observing. And also almost ashamed to say it, my son, I think I was telling him about life and what I'd just learned. And it was a bit like heavy for him at that age. And he said to me later on, he said, do you know that angels sometimes, like when you're falling in a dream, it's because angels drop you or something? And I was like, whoa, never heard that before. And that night, or not long after, I had a dream where I was a bit like a Marvel story, and I followed the character who was being assassinated, and he was pushed by these two women, and he fell to his death, and I fell too, and I was a bit like, and I was falling from a big story building. It was, I felt it, and it was almost like I was like my son's higher self, and my higher self was like, you've been told. that was too much, you know. And again, experiencing it like fully, and then I wake up. That's the ones I really remember. And I wouldn't say I necessarily remember in color. It's not normally a colorful thing, but I think I just remember Billy mentioning it in one of the last podcasts. And so the pink and the blue was like quite a focus on last night's dream. And now colors coming in.
Mhm.
Yeah, does that make
Yeah,
sense?
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's what we asked because a lot of people might not even think about it. Like for me, I think my perspective has changed. A lot of my dreams now are like me. I'm first person, and so like yeah, it can change. And I have my moments like in color, and then just like not really seeing color. So it's like it changes, chops and changes depending on like where you are at the time, what mood you're in when you go to bed. You know, if you're feeling happy and open, I think that's when you experience more colors as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I don't know what for either of you. So, like Sarah, has your perspective changed, or is it the same?
I would say it's the same. But what I will say is, like setting intention when it comes to the types of dreams you have, it depends on what you're focusing on in that moment. So, if you're not even focused on dreams, you're probably not even going to remember your dreams as an example. One thing I've noticed myself is, and I don't know if part of this, if being pregnant changes it completely. They say you have more vivid dreams when you're pregnant and all of that. Um, I don't think mine have been any more vivid than before because I had pretty vivid dreams to begin with. But I used to lucid dream quite often. But when I was lucid dreaming quite often, I was consciously like wanting to lucid dream or, wanting to have that experience. It's at the time when we had Melissa Johnson on to talk about lucid dreaming and it was very much like having all of those experiences happening at that. And I love lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is so much fun because you can control, you can do whatever you want, or you can make things change and it's just great. Or you can just know you're dreaming and just go along with it, but it's still lucid to be aware that you're dreaming, which is often what's happening to you lately, Holly, which is really cool. But for me lately, I know that I've dreamt, but I'm not necessarily fully conscious aware that I'm dreaming while I'm dreaming. So my lucidity has kind of diminished, but it's because I'm not having that intention for it during my waking life. It's so um yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, Billiana.
No, it's all right. No, it was just more so like because I feel like mine's changed, but also that's just like it's the ebbs and flows of life, you know. Like your moods change, your taste change, like your favorite color changes, your favorite number changes. It's the same as your dreams that it changes depending on the moment or the time that you go to bed and the experiences. So yeah, that's all I was asking if you had a similar experience or yeah.
Yeah. I will say again that intention is very, very important for this all. And
Yeah.
um, sometimes it's nice just to have a dream that's just random and you're having that interesting experience. But you can set intentions before going to bed, kind of like what you said, Billiana, where you want it to release. I forget what you were releasing, but you wanted to release some emotion and you didn't necessarily know exactly or remember exactly what had happened in the dream, but you woke up feeling different, which means that you and your subconscious, don't want to use that term, but another conscious part of you had a conversation perhaps in a in a dream space to release that information, release that emotion, and then you had the result of that the next day. So again, intention is super, super important. I will say I have dreamt in cartoon. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, Holly, and it's happened a couple of times, and it is just one of the coolest experiences ever. It's almost like I'm watching a cartoon, but in my dream space, which is kind of cool.
Cool.
Because it's like the colors,
Yeah.
you think like a cartoon, the colors are super, super super colorful, super vibrant, I guess. So it's very it's always a pleasant experience to dream in cartoon.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that in. Or we'll see if I can.
Yeah, like I want to experience dreaming in
Yeah.
cartoon, but for those dreams, like I said, it's not like being first person necessarily. It's more like the first time I dreamt it, it was like I was in a car, and it was almost like, like those old school video games where you're just like scrolling, side scroll video games, you're like watching, so it was like I was in a car and it was just like colorful cartoon billboards that were like going by, which was really kind of cool. I don't know if it meant
Interesting.
anything or if it was just to have the experience in dreaming in cartoon.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
who knows? But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Well, I suppose like our last question we always ask our guests is like if there's anything on your heart that you'd like to share about yourself or any advice that you'd like to share in this moment.
Hmm. Um, this weekend's been really profound for me. Like the talks that are happening over the weekend have been really inspiring, and I was getting into a bit of a lull phase. I was like, who am I? What am I here for? Like questioning everything and feeling a bit stuck. But I've just had this big, um, I just feel like if you're feeling any kind of stuckness, just do something different. Because I pulled it out. I had to, they say about flow state, like things just happen. Well, things weren't happening and it was looking impossible. And then I just made it happen. And like this and the conference and everything, just you need to take action to change your life. That's my current little self learning. And it doesn't have to mean you have to move countries or, well, I did, but I didn't choose that one. Yeah, you don't have to do something super dramatic, but just to make a little change, you can repivot yourself in a new little trajectory, new habits, new something, and create new dreams. Cheesy, but yeah.
Yeah,
Not cheesy at
thank
all.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Holly, for coming on.
Okay.
Um, do so you said you share some of your artwork through Instagram. Do you have any other modes of way for people to get in touch with you, to contact you, or just to see what it is that you have to offer and share?
Yeah, currently it is on Instagram, and I'm not even sharing all that much at the moment. I have had offers of illustration jobs coming in, so there's good things coming. But yeah, so I'm 3 random acts of kindness on Instagram, and I don't have a website anymore because it was an Australian one. It was all about art therapy, and I had a bit of a hissy fit when it said, "Do you want to renew it?" I was like, "No." It was a beautiful website, and I'm gutted because I had that. I don't have a website. Sorry, I don't have it anymore. Anyway,
That's all
but yeah,
right. Cool.
Yeah,
that's me.
no. Awesome. And so, are you going to start offering helping people analyze their dreams with art therapy?
It's absolutely possible because we did it, and it's definitely an option there. I mean, whether they want to analyze dreams or just where they're at the moment, um, things come to the surface and they tend to bubble up and come out over time. It might be a week later and they say, "Wow, I'd never thought of it that way," or "I haven't told anyone that, ever, and I didn't think it bothered me." So you just shaking the jar and the sand starts spinning again. So yes, absolutely. If anyone wants to me, DM me and
Yeah, cool.
see where that goes.
Great. We'll have
Thank
your
you.
contact information or your Instagram in the show notes. Again, thank you so much for being here, Billiana, did you have any closing words you wanted to say before I fully close up the episode, or?
No, thank you. And I think I'll be doing a bit more uh, drawing with my journaling, like while I'm traveling. That's why I love that book. We live in a caravan. Like I'll be in my full drive, but traveling around. And yeah, like you change country. For me,
Mm,
it's like packing up my life and going on the road again. Sometimes you got to do those like dramatic things, but that's not for everyone.
mm,
Yeah, and I feel like I'm taking my different pencils and um, I might find some charcoal or something like that, and yeah, just kind of express, not worrying about how things look. And so yeah, you've kind of pushed some motivation to do that, like because it's not about uh, making artwork, it's about expressing and being creative because
mm.
that's how you connect with your heart is expressing what's inside. So thank you for that reminder.
Awesome.
Yeah, as you were talking, Billiana, I was like, oh, this would be a great spot for our dream portal conversation. So we could link the episode and then have a place for people to, if they've done any sort of been inspired to create artwork or to represent what they've dreamt through art, to just have a place to share that on our dream portal. So look out for
Cool.
that, folks. We'll get that place set up, and yeah. Anyway, check out Holly. Check out our course that's coming up. Thank you once again to Holly. Thank you to all of our listeners. We're so excited to continue these conversations and to bring you more guests and more aspects of dreaming and in all avenues, whether that is actual nighttime dreaming or like our song analysis episode where we're just talking about, dreams and other concepts as well. We love you all. We thank you all. And everyone, please just keep on dreaming.